find the words to tell him his daughter and grandchildren were murdered. I pray every day for the rest of your life, Sarah, Ashton, Carter, and Aubrey Holmeshield.
Been in gospel music and went for about 10 years.
So you've been part of Northeast Indiana Public Radio, WBOI, since the late 1990s and 2000s.
Absolutely.
That is wonderful.
Roosevelt's speech from the Man in the Arena and my favorite Brené Brown highlight in her book. It's not the critic who counts.
An abortion ban in Indiana is one step closer to becoming law tonight. Welcome, everyone, to the News at 7. I'm Brian McElhatton. Today, the proposed ban passed through the House with one more step before possibly heading to the governor's desk. And that step is happening right now. Here's a live look at the Indiana Senate as lawmakers there look over changes made to the bill as it moved through the House. Now let's take a moment for a quick refresher on the bill, how we got here, and some of the key changes made to it. After the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, a previously scheduled Indiana special legislative session was moved to July 25th. On the 25th, Republican lawmakers introduced SB 1 in the Senate, which would ban all abortions in Indiana except in cases of rape or incest or if the mother's life is in danger. The Senate passed it last Saturday, sending it over to the House. Earlier this week, the bill was amended to remove requirements for women to sign affidavits to get an abortion in the case of rape or incest. The same amendment removed language that expanded the jurisdiction of the Indiana Attorney General to prosecute any crime in the state. Leading us to today, where the House saw over 3 hours of heated debate before the bill ultimately passed 68-32. People on all sides of the issue gave passionate testimony on the House floor. Here's some of it from earlier today.
And that does include Republicans and Democrats. To protect all preborn human beings, which this bill does not do. Let me say that again, which this bill does not do.
Women in Indiana still do not have the same access that 24 other states provide women. There was a time when this General Assembly wasn't just 70% male, it was 100% male. Just take a look at some of these photos in the hallway hanging here. It may not seem strange to all of you, but it's for that very reason that women did not have the same rights as those who were sitting in these seats.
So I always say that those that persecute me for this middle ground that I think some Republican women, a lot of Republican women are, I will always say, I'll see you in heaven.
Now, if the Senate passes the amended bill tonight, it'll head to Governor Holcomb's desk, and we will continue to monitor the session throughout the evening. We'll have updates online and later tonight on the News at 7. Now, if you'd like to talk to us about this story or, frankly, anything else we talk about here on the News at 7, we want to hear from you. Find us on social media, on Facebook and on Twitter. If you have a story that you'd like us to dig deeper into, give us a call, 260-376-0281. From historic heat waves and unprecedented flooding to dangerous storms, the last month has been a wild one, really, when it comes to the weather. And Mother Nature made no exceptions last night. Take a look at this video from the East Coast of a waterspout tearing up the shoreline. Eyewitnesses on Rhodes Point watched as the spout moved off the water and onto the coast, leaving a wake of damage that included several homes. No one was seriously hurt here, but a sudden event did reportedly knock out power to more than 50,000 people in the area.
Now, your ABC 21 First Alert forecast.
Now, Caleb, when a waterspout moves on land, is that a tornado or is it still considered a waterspout?
Well, there's some question marks about the definition because tornadoes form off of supercells and waterspouts technically no, but some argue yes. So it's kind of where and how that waterspout forms, what type of weather system it forms under. It could eventually turn into a tornado on land. But either way, I wouldn't be watching a waterspout unless I was well off in the distance because they can still throw some things around. They can still cause some damage. Just, You guys saw in that video there, I think, what was that number? 50,000 people without power last evening. So yeah, still even powerful, although not really forming under supercellular conditions as we see with typical tornadoes. This evening, we're on the calm side in comparison to that. We are seeing some isolated rain showers popping up off to the south of Fort Wayne. North Fort Wayne been primarily dry, a few isolated rain showers here in Allen County. Reason being is because we kind of have a weather system nearby, but also we've got a lot of humidity in the air. We're seeing very humid conditions, dew points between 70 and 75, and that trend continues until at least Monday afternoon when we see our next weather maker move through. We're going to see conditions improve. But through the weekend, isolated rain showers are possible. The chance is decreasing this evening. You notice that brown line on the screen there. That's the rain chance. It's going to be on the low side, especially in the morning hours on Saturday. Overnight, temperatures will drop down into the low 70s. And for your weekend, hot and humid. 87 for the high on Saturday, 88 on Sunday. Some pop-up rain showers and thunderstorms are possible, although the chance is pretty low for both of those days. But the heat index is going to be high. High heat index values in between the mid-90s into the upper 90s. You know, the Sunday, that heat index of 97. One or two places probably will tick up to that 100 mark for the heat index. So my suggestion is stay inside during the peak heating hours of the day, or drink plenty of water and find the shade if you are planning to spend time outside this weekend. Like I mentioned, low-end rain chances for Saturday and Sunday. The best chance for rain looks to be about late Sunday night with some scattered rain showers moving in, and then a bigger weather maker moving in on Monday afternoon, bringing us our best chance for some significant rainfall. So let's walk through future tracks showing scattered rain showers this evening, drying by Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon, you notice one or two spots of green on the map there, but mostly sunny skies. Same case for Sunday, but a few more rain showers are possible in the late afternoon and early evening hours thanks to that heat and humidity. And then you notice our weather maker knocking on our door at about lunchtime on Monday. More scattered rain showers on Monday afternoon, and that's the case for the evening as well. In terms of how much rain we could see, you notice there's lots of dark blue on this map. That's anywhere from about ½ an inch to an inch of rainfall over the next 5 days. So through Tuesday afternoon and into the evening, when I expect the weather system to move out of our area and for conditions to improve, a lot of places could see about ½ an inch of rainfall off to the west and the southwest of Fort Wayne, where you're starting to see some of those purples on the map. That's anywhere between 1½ to 2 inches of rainfall over the next 5 days. And that's the area off to the southwest that needs it, because we're seeing abnormally dry conditions there. No drought conditions, fortunately, but abnormally dry conditions off to the southwest of Fort Wayne. Like I mentioned, your extended forecast shows after the rain showers move out on Tuesday afternoon and evening, conditions start to improve. We'll see mostly sunny skies and high temperatures in the low 80s. So we just have to get through a couple rounds of rain chances before we see conditions improve.
Yeah, we do. It certainly feels like the season right now. Hot and muggy and just not fun to be outside right now.
I agree.
All right, Caleb. Hey, thank you very much. Well, today we learned about the plans for the funeral for Congresswoman Jackie Walorski after she died in a car crash earlier this week. Visitation will be held next Wednesday at the Granger Community Church from noon to 7. The funeral will be held the following morning at the same church beginning at 11. The crash happened on Wednesday when the staffer driving Walorski's car crossed the center line and smashed into another car. 4 people died in that crash. This morning, the community paid their respects to fallen police officer Noah Shanavaz. The video you're seeing here is the procession for the late officer. The visitation ended just a few minutes ago at the top of the hour. Tomorrow morning, another procession will take Officer Shanavaz's body to Crown Hill Cemetery in Indianapolis. Today, the city announced a plan to raise the rate you pay for trash pickup, which will be a gradual increase of nearly 50% over the next few years. If the plan is approved, the first rate increase is set for July 1st of next year, increasing what you pay to $15.60 a month. The proposal will be presented at next Tuesday's City Council meeting. A surprising and positive jobs report came out today. The U.S. economy added more than 500,000 jobs in July. That's nearly double what the economists had expected. And it wipes away all job losses that the U.S. suffered during the pandemic. But the positive numbers come at a time when record inflation is hitting Americans' wallets. Chris Wen takes a look at the latest job numbers and what this could mean for the overall economic outlook.
The latest employment snapshot is surprising economists and giving the Biden administration something to celebrate.
We saw people hiring at not record numbers, but at big numbers.
Data released Friday by the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows the U.S. economy has now regained all jobs lost during the COVID-19 pandemic after a blowout jobs report showed a gain of 528,000 jobs.
If we were in a recession, companies would be laying people off rather than hiring them.
Some analysts are cautiously optimistic and say it's important to put these figures in perspective.
Eventually, we're going to run out of bodies. You can't have an unemployment rate be at the 53-year low and keep adding 500,000 jobs a month. There just aren't enough people.
At 3.5%, the July jobless rate matched the half-century low last seen in February 2020. President Biden taking a victory lap, crediting his economic policies for the encouraging numbers, but acknowledging there's more work to do.
I know it's hard to feel good about job creation when you already have a job and you're dealing with rising prices, food and gas, and so much more.
Administration officials say they'll continue their work on bringing the cost down.
Whether it's through releasing oil reserves, whether it's working on this Inflation Reduction Act, working with companies to bring more people back, we're doing everything we can to bring these inflationary pressures on you down so you have more money in your pocket.
Chris Wen, ABC 21 News at 7.
Coming up next, today was sentencing day for a man convicted of killing a mother and her 3 children. We'll hear from the victim's family after the break.
An impact statement was directed towards him, not towards the court. The words I had to say were for him. I had to revise it a little bit since he wasn't in there, but I think that I got my point across, and hopefully one day he will watch that and see what he has done and how he has devastated all these families.
Well, today a family had their final words in court for convicted murderer Cohen Hans Barron. But in what the family members describe as a final act of cowardice, Hans Barron exercised his right to not be in the courtroom to listen. Earlier this year, a jury found him guilty on 4 counts of murder, recommending life in prison without the possibility of parole. Today, Judge Fran Gull said there was more than enough evidence to support that recommendation. She sentenced Hans Barron to 4 consecutive life sentences. He will never get out of prison. In fact, Judge Gull said there was plenty of case law that would have supported the death penalty in this case. But the victim's family members expressed early on they would rather see him spend the rest of his life in prison thinking about the pain that he caused. And now new at 7, you'll hear about that pain. Sarah Zent's stepmom, Angela, shared what she read in the courtroom today. Her testimony was full of heartbreaking memories of the lives lost. She remembered the victims, Sarah Zent, and her 3 children, Carter, Ashton, and Aubrey.
Hello, I am Alan Zent Jr.'s wife, Angela, Sarah Zent's stepmom, Carter, Ashton, and Aubrey's step-grandma. June 2nd of 2021 changed our families forever. I say families because there are 4 families with many extended families. Sarah comes from a blended family with 5 sisters and 4 brothers, and so many nieces and nephews, grandparents, aunts and uncles and cousins. That morning, it was raining. I received a phone call from our daughter, Brittany. I couldn't understand a word she was saying. She was hysterical. She finally controlled herself enough to say, "Mom, they're gone. They're all gone." I said, "Who, Brittany?" She says, "Sarah and the babies, they're all gone." My heart dropped. Never did I ever think I would receive this phone call. I hung up with her, called my husband's phone. He was at work. He didn't answer his cell phone, so I had to call the main line. He finally picked up, and all I could say was, "I need you home now." And he asked why. "Are you okay?" And I said, "I just need you home now." He gets home, and I'm grabbing my jacket, walking out the door. All I could say is we needed to get to Sarah's now. He looked shockingly and couldn't find the words to tell him his daughter and grandchildren were murdered. He thought one of the kids got hurt or something. We turned on Sarah's street. Police cars were everywhere. We walked up to the caution tape. We were met by a police officer. She told us that they were murdered. Alan said, "What?" And I said, "They're gone." That started the worst day of the rest of our lives. Sarah, Carter, Ashton, and Aubrey was loved so very much, and they are missed just as much. We will never understand why you did this. There will never be a reason that would ever be good enough for you to have murdered them. Sarah would have given you anything for you not to hurt her babies. She allowed you to stay in her home. With her and her children, she trusted you. I believe life in prison is too good for you. Your mom will still get to see you, hug you, talk to you. You will still get to watch your son grow, have visits, pictures of him and your family. My husband, if he wants to see or visit his child, Sarah, he has to get into a truck and drive to a cemetery, usually stopping to pick up flowers to lay down. I will say one thing to you. I pray every day for the rest of your life, Sarah, Ashton, Carter, and Aubrey haunts you. You see their faces, not smiling and laughing, but the way you left them and what you did to them. Because I know those images, those pictures, we had to sit here and see and try our best not to show much emotion as we saw what you did to them. We will forever be immersed in our minds. We wanted to thank the Fort Wayne Police Department, the detectives, the Indiana State Police, prosecuting attorneys, victim assistants, for all the hard work you did with helping get Sarah, Ashton, Carter, and Aubrey justice.
Volunteers help sustain many organizations, and tonight we introduce you to someone who spent a lifetime on the radio. WBOI entertainment partner Tara Brantley joins us now with that story.
Hi, everyone. Imagine spending almost 50 years doing something you love. WBOI Radio is fortunate to have long-serving volunteers who host shows and help out in a variety of ways. One of them has been part of our fabric here for decades. Her name, Dee McKinley. Her show, Gospel Flight.
Gospel music is always joy.
With music to uplift and personal messages to inspire.
Today is the beginning of the rest of your life. Make it a good one.
Dee McKinley has been a staple of the WBOI family for decades. This summer, she is celebrating almost 50 years on the radio.
I kind of started interning in Birmingham, Alabama, and so I was in studio with great men. Then I moved to Fort Wayne. Louis Dinwiddie started Cool Cable Radio. And so, because he knew that I directed the choirs and all of that, he knew I knew something about gospel music. So he asked me if I would do a show on the cable station on Sundays. And I started with them in 1990, spinning gospel music, and went for about 10 years. And when cable was going out, and I said, okay, I got all this music, what am I going to do with it? So I started searching and searching, and say, oh, there's NPR, and it's a listener-supported radio station. Maybe you ought to go ask and see if you can go on there. And I did, and I got 30 minutes.
So you've been part of Northeast Indiana Public Radio, WBOI, since the late 1990s, early 2000s.
Absolutely.
That is wonderful.
Yes, and I love it because I get to come and do my own music, program my own show. You know, if you were working for a commercial radio station, you'd have to follow a clock.
Right.
You know, you'd have to do this song, that song, that song. Well, I choose my own music, and my music is chosen by way of what my listeners want to hear, because during the week, hey, Miss D, I wanted to hear so-and-so, and you didn't play it that time. I jotted down. I said, I'll get you the next time. And it just builds from there.
Dee's full-time job is with the Fort Wayne Community School System, where she is an educator and caseworker. Years ago, when she was a teenager, she became active in the civil rights movement.
Being a part of the movement when the fire hose and the dogs, you know, the marches and all of that, that was a part of my life. We marched, we ran from dogs, from fire hose. I took a number of kids back to Alabama, busloads of kids, when I had a project called Passages. And we went to Birmingham just to walk through that path.
How do you bring your life experiences into your show?
I always like to say, you know, if he brought you to it, he'll take you through it. So get ready for the next, you know, because there will be a next. My payment is when somebody tell me, if I had not heard that song, I would have taken my life. That's what keep you going. It's those kind of things that make you say, oh my God, that's why I do this. So, you know, if we never get a dime, never get a check from wherever, it's okay, because we get payment from him upstairs. So I love what I do.
To journey with Dee on her gospel flight across Northeast Indiana and Northwest Ohio, be sure to listen to 89.1 WBOI every Sunday morning from 4 until 8 a.m. With ABC 21's In the Spotlight, I'm WBOI's Tara Brantley.
And a reminder before we leave you now, we are monitoring developments in the state Senate. That's where lawmakers are considering the near total abortion ban. Remember, it started in the House, the bill did. Started in the Senate, went to the House, now it's back in the Senate. And if the lawmakers agree on the provisions tonight, they will likely pass it. It will then head to Governor Holcomb's desk, where he is expected to sign it. And if it becomes law, it'll take effect September 15th. Details on our website, our news app, and right here on the air at 11. Good night.
And we don't want to find them.